So thanks a million. So my name is Erica, as you have heard, and I work in Chanelle Pharma, and I've worked in Chanelle Pharma for 4 years now. I qualified as a veterinary nurse 4 years ago, but decided that I didn't want to take the technical route of actually going into veterinary nursing. And Chanelle Pharma is local to me. I'm actually from Loughrea. If anyone knows or if anyone's local, I'm from Loughrea, just beyond Loughrea, 5 minutes. So I decided to go into pharma and thought I would start at a local level, but I never really truly realised how big Chanelle Pharma were and that they had such a global presence. Because it was only over the road to me, you kind of take these things for granted. But so that's kind of a small, brief introduction. I will go into it in more depth, my career progression and aligning to the fact that your career really does matter more in Chanelle. It's not just a job at the end of the day. It has a family feel. But also, your career and your career progression is the most important thing to the company. So I might just...
You can take it away.
Great, thanks. So I'll just go down through a presentation that we prepared for today as well. So this slide really is just giving you a brief overview of Chanelle Pharma, where we are today and our global presence, really, because, as I say, I took for granted that Chanelle Pharma being so local to me, 5 minutes out the road, I assumed that it was just a small-scale operation in Loughrea, 100% owned by one man, Michael Burke, if you've heard of him. So he's actually local as well. He had an idea 40 years ago that veterinary products were just too expensive for the farmer, and he, being a vet himself, he had the technical background. He decided he wanted to liaise with a doctor in Dublin and start manufacturing generics for more affordable medicines for animals, because there was a welfare issue at the time as well. People couldn't afford to be treating their animals. So that's kind of the background of where Chanelle actually originated. So we're 37 years in business. As I say, it was 40 years ago when Michael qualified as a vet, so 37 years in business. He was 3 years qualified when he decided that he wanted to actually take this to the next level. 100% Irish owned, as I've mentioned. We have currently 600 staff in or around. I think we surpassed the 600 mark this year, which is fantastic for a small scale company, and for it to be locally owned as well. And our ambition is to get to 850 staff within the next few years, because we are growing at such a significant rate. We do the majority of our work is carried out actually here in Loughrea, in Galway, and we have labs in Jordan, but we also have offices in Portugal, and we have a huge distribution presence in the UK and in Ireland. So there are people who work remotely in sales roles, but also people who work globally in sales roles. And I'll tell you a little bit about it myself. I'm going into a new role, and I'm going to be working in Asia and Australia in the coming year. So I'm really excited about that as well. We have over 3,500 veterinary products licensed in Ireland and globally as well. We got FDA approval in 2018 for the manufacture of spot-on treatments for animals, dogs and cats. You might know our brand. If you do, fantastic. But if you are going home in the evening and putting spot-on a dog, it might come from Chanelle. You never know. So, and then we have over 2,000 human products as well licensed globally. So we do manufacture both human and veterinary products. And we are, as mentioned, Ireland's largest indigenous manufacturer of both human and veterinary products. And in the last 5 years, we've had 100% sales growth, and we plan to do the same in the next 5. So we are growing massively at such a great pace as well. Things are generally, done very, very quick in Chanelle, and it's fantastic to see it. And we're really, really looking for, bright and enthusiastic people about pharma to come and join our team. So, as I say, those are just numbers, and it's very hard to get a feel for a company when we're just putting up a slide full of numbers and what we've done. But really, there's so much more behind that. There are intangibles. So we have so many departments that where we have open opportunities as well at the moment, which you can see if you just want to join us on our stand 4. It's just inside the door. We can chat to you about the open opportunities. But these are the kind of areas that we have either roles in at the moment or that we actually have presence in. So there's business development, sales, marketing, customer service, production, quality, all of the qualities, so quality control, assurance, validation, QPs as well, human resources, facilities, maintenance and engineering, supply chain planning, warehouse, finance, IT, R&D and reg affairs. And it's all done primarily in Loughrea, which is fantastic. It's only out the road. So it's great to have, all of those teams on site as well, or working remotely, depending on the situation. So it's all great looking at a slide as well full of departments, but it doesn't mean that you're tied down to what you do. So, for example, I will get onto it, but I, as I say, qualified as a veterinary nurse in 2018 and decided that I didn't want to go into it. So I said, okay, I'll take an entry-level job in Chanelle because it's local. And now currently I'm project manager for the supply chain. So it's totally different. The lateral career progression in Chanelle is absolutely fantastic. And you can see later as well, there are some testimonials about that and as well speaking to that. So people are given the opportunity in Chanelle to move laterally rather than, there's always, the goal is always to go up. But you can always go sideways as well to get up as well. If there's an area of interest for you, you are encouraged to show your interest and your passion, and Chanelle will support you through any. If you want to do a course or something, Chanelle will support you with the educational assistance program to get you into the role that you want to do. So it's not just about what you currently do. You're not tied to what you currently do. You absolutely can move. Someone moved from engineering to finance. Now, I wouldn't go into finance myself, but someone went from engineering to finance there just like last week. And it happens all the time. It's great. It's really, really good to see. So now the interesting part, all about me. So, so my Chanelle story, as I say, started 4 years ago, 2018. I got great exposure to the industry, and as I say, I was really coming into Chanelle because I didn't want to go into veterinary nursing, and it was 5 minutes away from home. That was my thinking, and I was absolutely shocked to see how huge the operation is in Loughrea, but also that we have such a global presence. We're exporting to 96 countries globally, and the US as well. We have huge distributors across the world distributing Chanelle product, and it's all done here in Loughrea. It's really, really, it's enormous. So I was supported as well through my studies. After completing the veterinary nursing degree, I wanted to get some exposure to the pharmaceutical area because that's where I was working, and I wanted to go into supply chain. So I did a postgraduate diploma in pharmaceutical business and technology with Griffith College 2 years ago. And then when I finished that, I did a certificate in data analytics because I was bored and it was COVID. And then now I'm doing an MBA. And Chanelle have supported me through all of this. It aligns exactly to where I want to go, and Chanelle are completely behind me. And I feel like Chanelle actually care. It's not, because it's headquartered in Loughrea, it has such a local feel. Even though we have global presence, it has such a local feel to it. And I actually feel like people care about, where I'm going, what I want to do, my ambition, my ideas. Everything is appreciated. We don't have to go to, corporate America and figure out what's going on over there and then have it fed through our departments. It's all done in Loughrea, so it really has that local feel to it. So as I say, I don't know what you call it, commitment issues, but I like to move around. So I started 4 years ago as Business Operations Intelligence Lead, and that was a graduate program. So I did 11 months of that, and then I was promoted to Business Operations Manager, and I loved that. So that took two years, 9 months of my life, and I loved it. But then I decided it was getting kind of, I felt like there was no real challenge anymore. Things were just kind of coming easy to me because I had such experience in it. So I said I wanted to challenge myself, and where better to go than supply chain to challenge yourself, because as we all know, there's so much going on at the moment in the world, and it's really, really hit hard on the supply chain. So did 9 months in supply chain, and it was enough. So now I am moving into a role on Monday, the 26th of September, as Business Development Manager for Asia Pacific. So, going to do a lot of traveling, I think, and I hope that's the plan. So, this is just one example. There are so many of them across the company where people are just encouraged to do what, if you see you have an idea, you're passionate about a different area within the business, then you're encouraged fully to go for it. If you don't have the qualifications, Chanelle will support you to get there. So this is just a cheesy slide of Mohammed, who works in QC. And everyone has their own Chanelle Pharma story, and where will yours take you? And I really, as I say, it is cheesy, it's cliche, but it's so true. It is so true. As I say, we'll see testimonials later as well of other people who have moved laterally. Obviously everyone just wants to go up. They want to go up the ladder. But if that ladder isn't the ladder for you, then, you can hop onto another one. And it's great. So just to kind of, I suppose, portray, our global presence, we've had lots of success within the industry in the awards. So the Pharma Industry Awards, Irish Exporter Industry Awards, Deloitte Awards as well. Those are just some recent accolades. Just kind of to give a feel for, we're local, but we are serious, serious business going on here in Loughrea. Not here in Loughrea, in Loughrea. And so I'll just finish on, as I promised, a few other testimonials. And these are just whipped up yesterday. I just rang the guys because I know them really well. And I was like, would you mind just write these in? There are so many of them. So many of them. So these are just 4 of them. So Orla, who is the lady that has moved from engineering to finance. Strange move, but anyway, it's up to her, I suppose. So she was just saying as well that if you show enthusiasm for a role, you're absolutely supported to go and do it. All you need to be is curious and confident. And she was, and she moved into finance. And I think she likes it. Does anyone like finance? I don't know. Sorry if there's anyone from finance here. Grace O'Malley's just moved into product launch as well. And so has Denise Donlan. So they were just saying as well. So Grace herself came from planning. And Denise came from, Denise has actually moved around a good bit. She was in artwork, and then she was in supply chain, I think, as well, and now she's in product launch. So actually, artwork and bombs and production. So she's moved around a good bit as well. And then Kieran is the commercial manager of Relock, which is our FDA-approved facility for spot-on treatments. And he's basically speaking to the fact that we are such a serious business. We're a multinational exporter. We're at that scale, but it has such a family feel to it. So it's all of the benefits of a multinational and all of the exposure to the industry of a multinational with that local feel. I'll just leave those on the screen so for you to read down through, because I'm not going to read them. But that's kind of it for me. Has anyone any questions?
Yes, we have one question here. I'll come over and let you talk into the microphone.
I just wanted to ask you, in relation to costs with your company in the last 12 months, has that spiraled out of control? How is that affecting your business costs?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. As someone who works in the supply chain, it has been insane, really it has. We've been hit with so many different things, the war on Ukraine, obviously not ideal for anyone, obviously, but on a business level as well, which is secondary to the obvious health, which comes first. But on a business level, it has been very, very difficult. It has hurt us slightly. We have tried to absorb those costs ourselves rather than passing them on to the customers. But in a lot of cases, it has to be done. But it's global, everyone's been hit with these same cost pressures, inflation, everything. So it's expected on the marketplace, so we are able to pass a lot of it over to the customers, but we did have to absorb a good chunk of it as well. Look at its business at the end of the day. These things happen, and as I say, we were fortunate enough, because it is at a global level and not isolated just to us, that we were able to pass a lot of it on.
Thanks for that. I suppose if there's anyone else that has a question, I might just ask one or two myself. I suppose it's very obvious from the slides and the way you speak about it that you can really expand and do a lot of different things in the company. In terms of, I suppose, what qualifications and skills people kind of need, or what do you see coming in the door in terms of what people should have as background or qualifications? What would you see?
Yeah, so it's very diverse in that there are roles in every single one of those areas, and it's a different qualification for all of them. But there's anything from, entry level, which is what I went in as entry level, I suppose. Entry-level production warehouse, and then, you can move up, so then there would be supervisor in production, and then people move from production into other departments where Chanelle might support their career progression through courses or funding for courses and things like that, and give them their days off and whatever to take exams. So really it's everything, and your background is really, really important for the technical roles, the likes of the QC analyst, things like that. You can't obviously get into those without some background or experience or qualifications in those areas. But as I say, everyone is welcome to apply for something, and there's generally something there for everyone.
That's great. And another thing, I suppose, again, on the point that you obviously like what you're doing and stuff, what can you tell people are the main challenges to your work then on the flip side of that?
Okay, so the biggest challenge at the moment is the supply chain, I suppose. Being a project manager, it's very, very difficult. We could never have anticipated COVID-19, obviously. We couldn't have. And the same with the war on Ukraine. We couldn't have anticipated any of these things. It's just about being agile and trying to react to them the best that we can, and we have been very, very agile in that regard. As I say, it's a local company, so decisions get made very, very quick. So we were able to, be agile in the face of those kind of those challenges. But yeah, I would definitely say that the challenges that we're facing at the moment, it's not just isolated to me or our company, it's the supply chain.
Fair enough. And of course you're here until 4 p.m. again, so you're down the back. So if people want to come up or they want to look you up, where's the best place to find you apart from here?
Yeah, so we have presence online, so chanellepharma.com, .com. So chanellepharma.com. Apply to you can apply directly on the website, or come and chat to us before 4 p.m. as well. We'd be happy to chat to you, even if it's just about camogie or hurling or football or farming or whatever it is. Come over and chat to us.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, we'll give her a round of applause. Thanks for joining us here today as our last.